see the Q&A, I will just share the Q&A with you. We're live in 9 second 8. Have fun, enjoy your time on stage.
Thanks.
Hello, we're back for Dave Day this afternoon. We will have Germanas Šamrickis with us, who is software engineer at Rocket Software, and who will talk with us about application modernization, renovating a house while you live in it. Hello, Germanas. How are you doing?
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you. What I propose is that you share your slides with us so we're able to see what you prepared for us.
Yep, sharing the screen now.
Sharing slide moment, always tricky part, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. We see it. We see like a black stuff on the side. Can you just move the slide next one coming back?
Okay, let's look.
Oh, there is a, yeah, it should work.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Enjoy and see you in 40 minutes approximately.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining the speech. So, technology is shifting at a profound pace of a significant risks as is to continue to rely on traditional methods of managing your IT environment and business applications. So companies faces some of these risks, including slower business growth, loss of the customer loyalty, loss of the business opportunities, and ability to stay relevant in the market and adopt to the global competition. So this is probably the main factors driving both application and also infrastructure modernization. So my name is Germanas, and I today gonna share you a story about modernization and approach that you should take or you can take towards your modernization project. So our today's agenda. So firstly, I'm going to talk about trends and challenges. So in Rocket Software, we constantly working with the clients running legacy applications. Based on our experience and the survey that we conducted, and I will share and the insights of the trends and the challenges around those results of the surveys. The mainframe, as surveys showed, the mainframe still plays one of the major parts in those organizations. And as looking in that perspective, the still respondents say that the mainframe is vitally useful for their IT environment. So is it still could be considered as a legacy infrastructure and applications running on them considered to be as a legacy application. So in the second part, I will try to drill down the definition about the legacy and what is this, what it is, and that will bring us to the next topic of myth of modernization and what the myths around the mainframe and what the actual role of it in the modernization project. And all of that, and after all of that, I will share possible modernization approach that you can take, and this is going to be just only my opinion. You can have your own opinion, but this is will be an opinion that I formed after working with different customers and see different business needs from their side. So trends and challenges. So pandemic has drastically changed the global economy, adding more pressure to the companies to be more operationally resilient while increasing the need of innovation. Markets took a sharp dive, and since then they have came back, but it's not the whole picture. So entire industries were transformed because of the weaknesses uncovered by the pandemic, and the trends after that are still growing, and we still see the impact that it was brought by the pandemic, and IT is playing a bigger role than ever before. So Deloitte and McKinsey have conducted a research and came out with these three sectors which seen the higher impact during that difficult times that we had. So one of those sectors is a healthcare. So thanks for some regulatory changes around the globe, we saw healthcare moving away from a profit pool growth towards a better cost, quality, and outcomes in healthcare overall. So overall, the ecosystem of the healthcare have changed, and the regulators started to push toward more patient-centric, intuitive, and integrated health with the social core ecosystem. So overworked workers, vaccine rollout, data sharing, and privacy needs, that all of that required strong IT in these sectors, and it's important way more than ever before. Banking in financial sector in generally speaking. So the strong push to accelerate and amplify transformation efforts to build resiliency. So trend to operate with more agility, empowering employees, introducing flexible workplaces, etc., higher workloads, more credit card transactions. We're seeing more financial needs online were seen, and of course, significant and probably one of the game changing in that industry was the new security threats and risks. Manufacturing sector as well, a huge, tremendous hit by the pandemic, and the need to constantly innovate and shift to better outcomes were needed in that sector. So all of that have played a role on shifting some focuses from one side to another. So there was a huge challenges, obviously, and before talking about the strategy, what the companies were looking into after pandemic and even during the pandemic time, I want to ask you all a question. What is your current application strategy? And I just published a poll question in the chat. So I would like to see the results of what you think of your application strategy right now. So either you are thinking of replatforming or modernizing with the things that there are, or operation as it is. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about that and answer the poll question. All right, so we have replatforming, modernizing, operation as it is. The words keep coming. Feel like an Eurovision. All right, so thanks you guys for answering the poll question. And actually, your answers are quite similar to what we saw after the pandemic. So Rocket look to Azurita Consulting to see how the pandemic was affecting ABMI and MBZ projects with the organization. So Azurita have surveyed 560-ish business decision makers on IT infrastructure application. So what we found that because of the pandemic was such a drastic and severe change to the business and the economy, it triggered many businesses to reevaluate the strategy around the application. And in this case is we're talking about survey from taking about IBM platforms, but it kind of similar and similar feel around the industry. And we're actually looking into your answers in the poll questions. The feel is the same. So most of you are considering of modernizing rather than replatforming, and some of you think of operation as it is. So legacy. So what is the legacy application or even infrastructure? So in the beginning, I have mentioned that I will be talking about mainframes, so what kind of the role they are playing in current IT landscape. So before start talking about mainframe, so I want to ask you another question. So have you ever actually heard anything about mainframe? So this is another short poll question. Okay, so votes will keep coming. We'll give you a couple more seconds. So we have a couple of folks that heard and use it, and heard it but never came across it. And some of them is what mainframe, what the hell is that? So, scary legacy. So, in very generic term, well, in very generic term, so what is the legacy? So probably we can say that computers running, I don't know, MS-DOS, even the same mainframe technology and outdated financial system, and even I don't know, Windows XP could be custom build applications that are written in obsolete programming languages are considered to be a legacy. And then when the legacy becomes legacy. So it's probably when it uses outdated software or hardware or technologies that are no longer available in the market. This is what this is when the system becomes or start to get that cliche name that is the legacy. And with the legacy term, it sometimes comes with increased challenges such as security risks, incompatibility with the new technologies, inability to support the new growth strategies. In some of the in some of the cases, they could, but mostly they can't support that. And this is the biggest probably challenges around the legacy. And I mean, last year, Elon Musk tweeted that normal money is actually bunch of ancient mainframes running the COBOL in the batch mode, where the government can edit the money database whatever they want. So who still uses the mainframe right now? So as from the latest data that 67 Fortune 100 companies are using the mainframes. World top 45 bank from the 50 world top banks are using the mainframes. Top 8 from top 10 retailers. Top 8 insurance company. Top 7 retailers. Top 4 airlines companies. Steam using the mainframe. So it looks like that in order to address the challenges from the pandemic and other industry-specific trends, businesses need to include the system running critical infrastructure. And in most cases, this infrastructure is running on IBM-Z, or in general terms, IBM platform. And that means that those legacy big boxes ain't going anywhere away anytime soon. So Ray Vank, he is the founder of Conciliation Research, and he did a many conversation from the different companies with
Hi, it seems there's a connection issue, so we'll wait for Germanas to be back. So if you have any question about maintenance, or if you have mainframes in your own company, if you maintain mainframes, don't hesitate to share your story with us. It's true that a lot of people believe that replacing uh, old technology or legacy technology by new stuff will be great, but the problem is that when you replace, it takes time to replace, and if you take 3 years or 5 years to replace it, at the end you have a 5 years old technology, right? So that can be really problematic. And sometimes there is a quote I love from the American Constitution: "Don't fix it." If it's not broken, why you would fix it? You only have to fix it when it brings problem. So yeah, only when problem occurs or may occur, you will be trying to fix it. So check where Germanas is. Backstage, are you able to send back Germanas live? Let's wait few seconds. And there's also a topic I like talking about maintenance, is that sometimes the maintainers of the system are actually the one who pay the bills at some point. They pay the legacy system that deliver value to customer over the last whatever 10, 15, 20 years, or the new developers are the one like with cool technology, cool stuff, but they are not paying any bills with this new code, right? So let's sometimes celebrate the code someone did before, and yes, and reevaluate the merit between the people who maintain and the people who build and develop new features. Again, if you have any comment, don't hesitate in the chat section or in the Q&A, to be able to. So for people like Lawrence and others, you say, did the stream broke? Are you able to listen to me? And also, there's an issue because we have a 20-second delay. Okay, so it seems you still see my stream. Okay, you can still see my stream. So again, I've asked the backstage to see what. Okay, Germanas is answering. So Germanas said he will try to be back. That's good. Okay, join the backstage. So we'll be live soon. The whole Dave Days team is setting up again the stage. A lot of people backstage, right? That we don't see, like people who maintain legacy systems. We don't see them, but they deliver value. Again, if you have any comments, stories about your legacy story, maintenance, I was talking, as I said, to Germanas earlier, waiting for him to be back. I was talking about the French National Railway, let's say, main engineer, like a CTO, as we can say that. He said that because in France, let's say it's late all the time. They have a lot of works. They do 2 weeks or 3 weeks of works every year, and so they are continuously trying to improve, and right as they're using it. And he told me that if we stop using it, we can do 50 years of improvement in 6 months. But trains has to run, and so we can't actually rebuild everything. We have to build while we live in it, as Germanas was saying. And so yeah, it's really hard, it's really tough, and you have to do it piece by piece. And yes, Germanas will be back to tell us the story about how we can do it with software. Yes, and there is also this story. I don't know if you know the story about like when AOL acquired Netscape, they wanted to rebuild Netscape. Internet Explorer was booming, and they wanted to. In 1998, they acquire Netscape, and they said we have to rebuild everything with new tech. It took them 5 years to rebuild
Yeah.
Netscape with completely new tech,
Okay.
and so at the end they
Yeah.
had a
Sorry.
5 years old browser. 5 years browser. Yeah, Germanas, perfect. You're here. I was
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Well, I'm not
convincing
sure
of it.
what's happened. Network glitch or something.
Sometimes things broke, things break. That's software, Conrad.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll try to.
Yeah,
What?
we stopped listening to you at the Gartner slide where they say it may cost you more to replace mainframes.
Okay. Let me. Okay. So do you see my
Yeah,
slides?
yeah,
Okay.
we can see the Forrester mainframe are critical part of modern IT strategies. Yeah, IBM Z. You were talking about IBM Z, and Gartner saying yes, this one.
Okay. Well, I'll probably skip forward a bit. So yeah, so what I was saying that what I wanted to show you that the feel of the legacy development and how the legacy development used to look like on this platform with those black screens with not very intuitive GUI, and the things were a bit complicated, and that is actually brings us to the myths around the mainframe, and this is also the myths are gathered from the different researches, different interviews that were done by both Forrester, Azurita Consulting, International Data Corporation, and I will share. There was lots of myths. We'll share a couple of them. Um, so first one myth, it's IBM Z is outdated system that still fires innovation and competitive resilience. Uh, so Forrester conducted 5 quantitative interviews and surveyed 261 businesses and IT decision makers in US only, with authority influence over the mainframe strategy. So, but we found that the most of them see as the mainframe as a strategic component to the hybrid cloud environments and and planning to keep the key workloads on the mainframe, given with its high processing and transaction capabilities and matched security. So investment and interest in the mainframe is also on the rise as the leaders across the industries understand and gain the value from enduring the role of today's mainframe technologies. The 74% of the operation sees as the mainframe as being the long-term investment and strategic plan for running their core business applications. And also, based on that interviews, the respondents also have pointed out that they choose to stay on the legacy platform on those mainframes because of so-called 7 nines. So this is in human language. That gives us less than 5 minutes of downtime per year and no planned outages. And also due to security reasons, uh, any businesses that considering offloading applications from the mainframe, but you can think of not only in this case the mainframe but other types of the platforms, they should consider it and security solutions that will be inherited from that platform, and that also gives a bit of a back push of any plans for totally moving away from one platform to another platform. And also, the recent survey have shown that around 250 senior business and IT leaders 90% of those senior business decision makers were about at director level or above. So that they are come from across five main industries like manufacturer, financial, retail, and so on. So so they said that, and they echoed that they see uh, their strategy towards the platform, the mainframe and the cloud, and see that cloud versus mainframe isn't either or proposition. They see roles of both in the same strategy, and even media and many technology providers suggest that the widespread embrace of cloud solution is a step away from the mainframes. In this view, it kind of contradicts. So although there's a huge trend in the field that maybe that technology will go away, but as a base on the surveys that were conducted, it looks like, but the plan is actually opposite. And here, I also want to ask you another question about your priorities in organization. What you prioritize firstly when you talk about modernization? So I have opened the poll questions in the chat. So modernization priorities, what do you think of them? So what they are for you, so for your company? Is it AI, cloud, OET, or both? I'll give you a couple of seconds to vote on that.
Let's not forget there is a 20-second delay, so
Yeah. Yeah. So while others answer the poll question, so what else besides incorporation to the cloud? Where else company sees the legacy application? In this case, the legacy, so-called legacy mainframes. And the research that we did, and other companies as well, came out with this results. So in fact, that companies are looking to modernization not just for modern UIs, workflows improvements, but also they enable to technologies like Internet of Things, hybrid cloud, drive better analytics, take advantage of those modern things. And the respondents of survey said that they see as the mainframe being a part of all of that and not being put aside somewhere, because this platform could provide all the benefits for the business. And also respondents pointed out that they still tend to use the mainframe due to the cost. So when it comes to total cost of ownership, the last computing platform standing in enterprise data centers will be IBM mainframe. I'm not talking about the old mainframe that I show you, the blackish screens, but today's modern platform that supports Linux, Java, C++, Hadoop, Spark, and so on and so on. And at the same time, effectively and efficiently executing old software in which was put a huge investment some long time ago. And that also brings us to another myth. So legacy system requires a very specific skill set, which is hard to find on the market. So I showed you earlier the slide with the screenshots. The normal was considered to be BAU developing environment in a mainframe, but right now the things have changed and technology have evolved. Right now, developing on the mainframe does not actually require that much of the specific skill set. So you could leverage already existing technologies, already existing IDEs that you are the developers that tend to use, such as Visual Studio Code, IntelliJ, and Eclipse-based tools. They all of that development will be now included in the standard development DevOps pipeline with all the Jenkins, all the automated tested, will with API layers on top of that. So that legacy is not the legacy application anymore. So right now on the mainframe, you can find lots of open source what's products. I would say products in this case. So like Node.js, Java, Python, JavaScript. You can use on the mainframe dev tools like as Git, GitHub, Jenkins, Ansible, and so on and so forth. So when you talk about from taking from definition about the legacy, when the platform application does not provide does not provide you the needs to conduct your businesses, or it's becoming harder to maintain it. So mainframe actually changed all of that perspective. And yes, there is some legacy code, legacy application being written in some, let's say, legacy languages, but now you can use all the modern stuff and encapsulate that in and drive value from the existing application and use it. And if you need to require a specific skill set, you can easily find it on the market, because the same thing it could be done with the modern on the mainframe with the new and modern languages, which are skills are more widely present on the market. And the third myth: so businesses won't see as much of the value staying on the platform as move away from the platform. Our researchers and other researchers found that, and in this case, the IDC found that the businesses that are replatformed were across the board less satisfied with functionalities of the new platform compared to the companies that modernize it instead. So across the board, modernizers were more satisfied on everything from customer experience to technical enablement and reducing employee turnover rate. So the customer's experience is the most important thing here, as it drives the need for innovation and drives the need of many other capabilities. So you can deliver better customer experience without making available the tools and the technical capabilities on the platform. So taking everything that I have mentioned, so things. When it comes to modernization, and we saw that based on the surveys, what is important for the client. So the was important thing to keep customer satisfaction, and we saw that the higher customer satisfaction rate is when you are not moving away from the platform or to other place, but actually modernizing applications on the platform with and enhancing it, adding some additional new fields or features. So taking that into account on the landscape, on the expectation of the clients, we run very successful project with some of our clients. I want to share some customer experience and modernization success stories. So that will give us a foundation and that we can talk about what the approach should be taken when you are considering to modernize your application. So we have a few customers in US. They are healthcare insurance companies, and because of the way the healthcare system is set up in US, and because of the new laws and regulations were introduced, so there are strict guidance on how to process the claims, and the claim Uh, it's more times not a mainframe is not involved in processing of the claim. So millions of transactions are processed on backend system of health insurance companies every month. They ensure healthcare providers get paid, patients get reimbursed, and companies get billed for the premiums. So individually, insurers process the thousand or even of million claims per year, depending on their sizes, actually. So often within the organization, you have a vice president of claims operations, who is the main focus is to maximizing the auto adjudication rate, which is a percentage of the claim processed, which is automated. An average insurance company have that rate about the 75%, meaning that 25% of claims are manual work, so requires manual work. Much of the manual work is like a tedious as usually. So, like for example, there is mismatches in the claims on the providing the data or pricing and so on and so forth. And the tedious manual work is always slowing down the processing time, introduces the errors, creates a poorer employee experience, and ultimately gives negative effects to the customer experience. So it's calculated that cost of 1% of manual intervention can be upwards of $1 million. So we work with those customers. We'll help them to modernize their mainframe applications and introduce new features and the processes in that. So customers also leverage some of the Rocket software design and solutions. A result of that was the many healthcare insurance companies have improved their auto adjudication rate significantly, and one insurer even improved it from 82% to 94% rate, which saved him actually $12 million. And another example is come from industry. So industry and manufacturer. So the clients of that. So the focus of the modernization efforts was on the ecosystem served by the manufacturer, as it has a vast network of the clients and partners. So these partners have approximately 200 fragments and applications embedded in the manufacturer system, and they run around different platforms. And they were written to be self-sufficient, and it's made interfacing with other applications way difficultly. The joint nature of application used by all partners were negatively impacted on productivity, and the process were changing, and hard was to change to adapt to the current market competition. So what we did, we worked with the customer. We found out the needs, what he expects, from the platform. We introduced the new APIs based on the data from the legacy, so the legacy applications. They introduced that to its system, and that streamlined the processes, improved all the processes around it in purchasing or ordering parts by the partners and so on. The customer satisfaction was very high in that, because we haven't teared down the house, but we built something on top, and we just remodeling something inside, and the satisfaction was very good, and improvement was also very good. So we discussed the challenges that the companies are facing with their IT infrastructure and what they think about modernizing legacy environment and legacy application. Some of them do not tend to modernize it because there's some risk and the cost being calculated into that. So you as a software developer or now CTO, you need to understand all the complexity of the IT infrastructure and why some clients are more willing to stay on the current platform rather than moving away from it. But in which case there are more sense to move away from the existing system, and how you should figure it out. So therefore, I want to shed some light on how you should start your modernization journey, or plan your modernization journey. So Modernization, and how the experience of showed, modernization comes with the different categories and approaches. You can approach modernization in various incremental ways, or without it, or the need you need to change the underlying code, or you do not change the code. Where you start depends on the level on the modernization what is required. So based on your needs and priorities, um, you need think of it. So you need the best way to, when you start your organization journey, you should answer these questions. I'll just probably go through a couple of those, maybe most important, but they're all important. But you should also reflect and think. Well, let's say disruption to your business. So most of the teams consider a production outage that causes by a project to be a significant failure. Some of the questions to be asked when considering potential destruction to your business is how much time is needed to project to be completed. Does the project require education to build in teams before starting that up? How long after completion it will take me to see a return on investment? Business risk as well. So what are those risks? What are the worst and the base case scenario if your modernization project would fail? What will be the impact of that? Specific drivers on modernization could be done. The modernization could be done for many reasons and meet many objectives. You can ask yourself several questions around that. So, are you implementing modernization project to improve experience? Do you have the latest technology, and are you fully harnessing the new technology that you already have in place? And the teams affected, all of that. So all of that you need to carefully consider before starting your modernization journey. There's lots of planning involved, obviously lots of planning. But the answer is, the question is, so why the big projects are usually failing? And the failing, I'm saying not projects not being implemented, but the failure in this case would be exceeding the money that were already planned for this project to completion, getting not managing to implement the project in time, and so on. So there is so-called decision latency theory, and it says that the value of interval is greater than the quality of the decision. And this comes from a Standish group that has determined the root cause of the software project failures and the challenges of slow decision latency, and that to improve the project performance, organization need to find the ways to make decision faster. The problem is that the good project management is actually tends towards slower decision because of the fear of making the bad one. This is a seemingly wise practice because the fragility in the pursuit of better outcome. So true short decision intervals are likely to result minor errors, but being able to tinker with the project makes the whole process anti-fragile. So short decision latency, and also promotes that better outcome of your project and gives a higher customer satisfaction rate. So
Germanas, we have 1 minute and a half left for decision, so if you can wrap up.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, okay. Right. Okay, so wrap it up. So some legacy applications. So the three probably point that I want you to take from discussion and thinking about modernization. So legacy application infrastructure are still out there and will remain so, as they still serve the purpose. And only those applications that are no longer fit their purpose will move away. And for that reason, not all of the customer will adopt new applications in the environment, or will gonna rehost existing application. So mainframe used to be considered a legacy application, but it firstly was introduced 60 years ago, but it's still being produced and still being used by the businesses. although it was produced 60 years ago, introduced it to the market 60 years ago, you cannot longer consider that a 60 years old technology, but a 60 years mature of technology. And then you can use all the modern languages and tools on that platform, and it serves the purpose very well for the business. And the last, it's easy to chase the new trends, and it's good to do so. You should use this approach in your modernization project. Start with small incremental modernization project, which is, in my opinion, have a higher efficiency rate. So that was fast.
Yeah, thank you very much, Germana. Sorry for the technical issues. Stream, right?
Oh, yeah,
We
it always happens.
technology, right? Thank you.
Yes. Does it run on the legacy?
I don't know.
Or you need to modernize?
We'll ask the Pine Tool platform, right, for that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Germanas. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can continue to chat on the main chat with Germanas for answering the questions, and then we go for a really short text talk in a few minutes on in this track, or depending on where you want to go. See you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, and again, so just for everyone, yeah, if you want to specific, the house you presented actually, Germanas, are really good. I want the next one.